Well, the mothers of 5 veterans who have taken their own lives will join experts and officials in Sydney today at the Daily Telegraph's inaugural Save Our Heroes Summit. More than 500 veterans have taken their own lives since 2001, a number that Minister for Veterans Affairs Darren Chester says needs to be reduced to zero. Joining me now, Glenn Kolomeitz, veteran and lawyer. Glenn, good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good morning, guys.
Is it as simple as that, reducing it to zero?
Yeah, it's not. It's a complex challenge, undoubtedly, but I believe this summit today will be the catalyst for that, for change, to bring in some policies and some direction in redressing what you quite rightly referred to as a scourge of veteran suicide.
And how do you affect that change?
I'll be advocating for a royal commission, but a targeted royal commission to get to the root causation, the root causes of what's brought on this national crisis, this national disgrace.
Well, and what, in your view, has brought it on? I mean, is it the things that our soldiers see on the front lines that can't be unseen, or is there treatment when they come back, the services, the support that's in place?
All of the above. I believe it goes back to their time in defence. So defence abuse, that's the elephant in the room here. Gross maladministration. Maladministration during the separation process, so the administrative and medical separation from defence, and the transition into DVA. So it's quite a broad spectrum of issues that need to be addressed in a deep dive way, which a Royal Commission can do.
Well, yeah, you're right about that, and we've just seen that last week, actually, with the interim report that came out to that Royal Commission into aged care facilities, and the shock and the horror that followed from that, when ordinary people, the rest of us, got to learn what is going on in aged care homes. Right. Do you believe, and why so, that a Royal Commission into Veterans Affairs would have the same effect?
Look, I wouldn't say a Royal Commission into DVA. I think that's too narrow, and that would have adverse outcomes. I think it has to be a broader Royal Commission into veteran suicide, looking at, as I say, that whole spectrum of the transition space, the defence abuse and maladministration, and the reception into DVA. So that deep dive, as I say, is likely to get to the root causation.
But how shocking do you believe that would be?
Oh, it'll be a big eye-opener for the public at large, no doubt in the world. We've seen inquiries over the years into defence abuse, and the public's going, oh, goodness me. Well, I think this will open up the can on a whole lot more of these issues.
It's not just a local issue. I mean, veterans, when they return home in the US, it's staggering numbers of suicide. And it's always been there, hasn't it? I mean, this is not just a recent trend. It's been around since the wars prior to World War One.
You're quite right, but having said that, in the years after Vietnam, the Vietnam Veterans Federation and Association took up this fight to government, and they really kicked some policy goals for veterans. But we've lost our voice in more recent years. We haven't taken up that fight. And this is what I'll be speaking about today at the summit. We haven't taken up that fight, and this is a chance now for us to take up that fight and stop this scourge.
We had one of the mothers of, still grief-stricken, obviously, of one of the veterans who killed himself in recent times. He was on Paul Murray's show last night, and she said that her son had the feeling of not being wanted anymore. After he'd served on the front line, and I think Paul Murray referred to it as being a new truck that was kind of used, and then when it came back, they wanted something that was a bit better. Yeah. Is that something that you would agree with? How would you refer to our veterans? How do you believe that they are considered here after they have returned from front lines or from the theatre of war?
I've seen this time and again where where defence pretty much cuts away its people, particularly if they're medically discharged, medically separated, pretty much cuts them away, and then they're in this space, this vacuum then between being part of the tribe, Defence Service, and being part of the general population again. And I think DVA, they are trying to fill that space, but it's a hard one. And you're quite right.
Do you believe that a lot of veterans come back and feel like they're not respected and they're not wanted?
I believe not wanted. Respected, I think, we do a pretty good job of commemorating service in this country, so I think respected, yes, but wanted. Gainful employment, or certainly given the support they need immediately during the separation process and immediately post-separation. That's what's lacking.
So what sort of support services should be in place that aren't already in place? How can we do better?
Look, I think they need to bring in this mental health oversight and support while they're still in service, and employment support. while they're still in service. As soon as someone indicates, I'm getting out for whatever reason, administratively or medically, the defence should go, bang, time to kick in with the support in the transition process and start helping these men and women out.
There is a new card that offers discounts, thousands of dollars worth of discounts to veterans when they return. What are your thoughts on that? You know, is that something that's positive?
Look, on its face, it's a very positive thing. It shows the public's support of our people, and it says, look, we value your service. I think that's great, and the little lapel pin's great. People have said it's tokenism. Well, I don't agree with that. I think it's a good start to that sort of recognition and acceptance, as long as it works, and it works well, and that's yet to be seen.
Yeah. Darren Chester says he can't be there today. Should he be? I mean, he says he's got ministerial meetings, but what sort of a message do you think that sends?
I'd like to see the minister there. And I think Darren Chester, as the minister, is trying. I think he's one of the better Veterans Affairs ministers we've had, certainly in my lifetime. But I think he should be there to hear not just the mums, but to hear the message we're putting out collectively.
All right. Glenn Kolomeitz, appreciate your time this morning and hope it all goes well today.
Thanks, guys.